Hello everyone, my name is David. Today I'm going to do a JavaScript project related to the topic of classes. And the project topic is school catalog. And in this project, we'll create a parent school class. And under our parent school class, there will be 3 child classes, which are properties, getters, setters, and these classes will also have the following classes like getters, setters, and other methods. Okay, without further ado, let's start the project. So there are 19 tasks total we need to complete. Okay, so as the instruction implied, we should start by making a parent class for primary, middle, and high school. So create a class. Class name is school. First task completed. Okay. Inside the school class, create an empty constructor that accepts 3 parameters. The names of these parameters should correspond to the properties listed in the objective. So the objective. Okay. Constructor. Three parameters, which are name, level, and number of students. Name, level, no. So also create this dot name equals to name. This dot level equals to the level, and this dot number of students equals to none. So since we pass in 3 parameters into the constructor of the parent school class, we should also use list to receive the parameters from the constructor method. Yes, we should pass in. So like if we have an example, if we create a list dot gender school, maybe like the tuition fee. But assume the tuition fee is a number, but we didn't pass in any parameters or arguments into the constructor. We should add a default value for the tuition fee, like 150. Okay, let's get back to the tasks. Inside the constructor, set the school properties based on the arguments passed in. Yes, we add the properties based on the arguments into the constructor already. So task 3 also completed. Create a name, level, and number of students getter methods. Each getter should return the value saved to the corresponding property from the previous step. So we create a getter method. Getter methods are the methods that we can use further on in the whether it's in the parent class or the child class, or we can call subclasses of this parent class. We can get the specific variable or the passed-in arguments that we will further use on by initially create a getter methods. So get name return this name. So we create a first getter method for name already. Then we create get level, and also return this level. So we create the second getter method, which is level, and the third getter method is number of students. Number of students, and we should return this number of students. So we've accomplished the fourth text. And in the fifth text, we should create a number of unit setters. The method should first check setters. Okay. Should check if the input is a number. If it is a number, then set the number of students property. If not, log invalid input. Number of students must be set to a number. Okay. So the setter method is far different from the getter methods. For the getter methods, we can further use it on calling the returning the variable that we need. And for the setters methods, we expected the setters method to check the type or check the type of the variables, and we can do like further conditional flow check using setter methods. So set number of students. So we should add this one, new number of students. We pass in as a variable or parameters, and then we check if number of students, if type of number of students equals to number, we can safely return then set the number of students property. We can first write the for statement, else console.log this message. Get a hint for a number of students. Okay, so this line, if it is a number, then set the number of students property. In here, we should rewrite it by calling this dot number of students equals to the new number of students here, because since we've checked the type of the variable which name is new number of students, we can pass in the number of students back to this dot number of students variable. Yes, so we can change the value for this variable. Okay, number 6, under your getters, create a method named quick fact. So here we create a method called quick facts. Also, here's a reminder that inside the classes, when we want to if we want to create a function or a method inside the objects, we can't use the error declaration format. We should use the basic one, the basic parentheses with brackets format. Under your getters, create a method named QuickFacts that logs the following string to the console. Okay. Console.log. What's wrong with this? Oops. Okay. In place of school name, substitute the instance name value. School name. In the place of number of students, substitute the instance number of student value. In the place of level, use respective getter methods. So here's where the getter method shines. We can so in order to satisfy the requirements, we should use this level. School name, we can use the $sign and the bracket combo, and when we call the when we want to use the getter method, we can write this dot name, and it will call this getter method, I think, and number of students. Here, create a bracket. This dot number of students at the level. This level. Let's check. Should we add this or oh no, we don't need to add this. We just use name. Let's stop name. We can check the last project we built. We use star ratings. Yeah. So I assume that by adding this before the method name, we can get this rating. So yeah, I think I'm right. Okay. The way I use getter method is right. Yeah. Okay. Text 7. Under the .QuickFacts method, create a static method named pick substitute teacher. So here. static method, which is take substitute teacher. This method will receive one parameter named substitute teachers. And notice that the parameter substitute teachers will be an array of strings. So it's like maybe a list and the teachers you can pick from. Inside the method, randomly generate a whole number between 0 and 1 less than the length of the substitute teachers array. Use this number to access and return the substitute teacher at a randomly generated index. So the basically of this function is we need to randomly pick a teacher from the substitute teachers list. Okay. So we should create a we create a variable called index. To like get the random value of the total index we can choose from. So use math.floor so that we can get an integer. And inside the math.floor function, we use math.random. And we can like first call let teacher num equals to substitute teacher dot length. So like if there are 5 teachers available in the list, the teachers list, we will get 5 for the teacher num here. And so like it's more simple for us to just multiply the teacher num here, which is the value like we called. Should we add this before? No, it's in the same, it's not calling. Okay, so here we don't need this. We can just like pass in the teacher num variable directly here. So this index will get a random number from 0 to 1 less than the length of the teachers substitute teachers array. Yeah. So after getting the random index, we can return substitute teachers dot and with the brackets and index. Okay. So text 7 also completed, and let's jump to text 8. Next, we'll build a primary school class that extends school. So after creating the whole package of the parent school class, we can now continue our journey to the child class. So class whose name is primary school, because like in JavaScript, you will, if you want to inherit the method or the properties or the functions from the parent class, we use class primary school extends from the school class. Is school class. That the primary school class has only one additional property. So for the constructor, constructor of the subclass primary school, we should pass in only one property, which is pickup policy. We can just name it policy here. And before we receive the policy parameters, we should inherit the name and the input that we inherit from the parent class, which are name, level, and num. So here we super name y. Have a quick look here. Yesterday we built structure title. Oh, we should add each single one. So back to today's project. Includes everything in the school class plus one additional property. So for text 8, the subclass should pass in name, level, num, also the policy. So name, level, num, and also the policy. So for the inheritance, we can use the syntax super to inherit from the parent class. So super level, super and no. Also, we should reassign the name for the policy. This stuff. Policy equals to policy. Okay. So we finished the constructor part for the subclasses. Inside the primary school class, create a constructor that accepts 3 arguments. Yes. Since this is the primary school class, pass primary as the argument for the level. So for the level part, should write pass primary name, primary, and number of students. So there's no policy here. Okay. Name and primary with a lowercase p, primary, and list this dot level equals to primary. I think. Use the remaining argument to set the just deleted. So delete this one and the policy. This dot pick up policy equals to the policy that we input. Okay. Since our primary school class inherits school's property and getters, we only need to create one new getter in the primary school. Add this getter to the primary school. Each getter should return the value saved to its respective underlying property. So I assume that we should add the get policy method, right? Yeah. Get pick up policy and return this dot pick up policy here. In this text, you will create a high school class. The high school class includes the following properties: sports team, a getter for sports team array, we can copy the subclasses that we just wrote and change into the high school. And inside the constructor, create an empty school class. Create a constructor that accepts arguments, name, number of students, and sports team. On the first line of call super and pass it name, height, and so the level of this school will be changed into height. And number of students will be passed from the inheritance of the class, and set the sports teams here. You can reuse this string. Under the constructor, create a console.log. Get sports team. Sports teams. Return. Create a sports team getter. Use console.log to print the sports team value to the console. So console.log this underscore sports teams. The computer will then know that we are calling this variable here on line 57, and console.log this will print out the teams that we have. So after creating the classes, the parent classes and subclasses, we are now going to instantiate the objects and the objects that we will use to test our code. So const create a primary school instance. The variable name should be Lorraine Hansberry, okay? And new will be a new instance from primary school, new primary school, and we can pass in the arguments that we expected, which is name and for primary school, name, nom, and policy 514, and the policy here is this. Oops. Okay. Add a semicolon for safe. There. Oops. Super. Line 42. What's the mistake here? Explain the error for me. Because in your primary school and high school class, you are calling super twice in the constructor lines. Okay, so we should use comma to separate the parameters that we are going to use instead of calling line by line. So back to the 42 line and change this into also for this one. Okay, nice, improved a lot. Didn't have any red lines now. So after instantiating the Lorraine Hansberry object, we're going to call the quick facts on this instance. We are supposedly to have the name and the number and the level of this school. So can copy this one. Dot quick facts. And since we want to use this function, we should use parentheses here. So Lauren Hasbury educated undefined students at the So we got the name correct and the level of the school correct, but we got undefined students here. List the number of students. List the number of students. But I assume that we're getting this, right? So we'll get this one. List of number of students. Why this number of students is defined. Because how the super call is used in the primary school, the parent is 3. Is being assigned to the level. Field 6 call super So the mistake I make is I pass in the non-variable into the level variable, right? Here. So num is being assigned it to level. So call super and primary and num. And super super high num here. So we don't need these length, I think. Yeah, okay, let's try it again. Nice. Lauren Hansberry educates 514 students at the primary school. So the mistake and the error that I made is that I didn't pass in the level of this school here in the super. So the lesson I learned is that in the super inheritance syntax sugar part, we can use string to like fill in the missing level from the parent class. Yes. Nice. The principal of Lauren Hansberry needs a substitute teacher for the day for text 16. So call dot pick teacher on the school. So oops. And change the quick facts into pick substitute teacher. And pass in the following array as the teacher's list. Oops. Line 64. It's not a function. What? It's not a function. Oh, we can call the static method on the instant object. We should change it back to the school, the parent class. This is also a common mistake for me. So, oops, school. I think this is correct. Oh, the new mistake. Math.random. Oh, I misspelled it. It's math.random with an M. Nice. So create a high school instance with the following properties. High school. Save the instance to the constant variable name allSmith. So const allSmith equals to the new high school, and we pass in the name, the number, and the sports team here. Nice. Using the sports team getter, retrieve the value saved to the sports team property in the allSmith. So allSmith sports team method is here. Dot sports teams. Retrieve the value saved to the. So by calling this method, this getter method, we're going to retrieve the sports team. Oops. It's not a function. Yes. So for the difference between getter methods and the normal function method is, for the getter methods, there's no need to add the parentheses, and for the normal function, we need to add parentheses. So nice work. Yeah. Let's get a code review. So in this video, the part I learned is, first I improved a lot in getting familiar with the syntax of classes in JavaScript, so I can write code more efficiently and without a lot of doubts. And for creating for using the getter methods, there's no need to use parentheses. This is the first key point. And the second takeaway is, we can, for the inheritance, to inherit the properties from the parent classes, the super should be in one single line, and it should pass in the parameters that are required in order. The third takeaway is, okay, the third takeaway is, for the static method, like pick substitute teacher, the static method can only be called on the shouldn't be called on the instance object. It can only be called on the parent object. Yes. So let's take a glance on the code review. Return. Oh, we should also add a return here. Return this stuff, sports teams. Although we already consoled the log to print out the elements of the sports teams array already. And this is nice. So that's a wrap for today's JavaScript classes project.